Welcome to Powerful Group, the world's first ROI based collaboration and networking platform. We have designed this platform to connect visionary investors with high profile entrepreneurs. I'm so happy to introduce our guest today, Susan Seats. I'm Vasu Pawar, CEO, founder of Step to Step Up Incorporated, a US based nonprofit organization, and the founder of Powerful Group. Susan Seats has been a magician, a teacher, hospice educator, public speaker, Rotary ambassador, social justice activist, a board member of HARP Foundation, an advisory member on a nonprofit organization in Uganda, TAPAC. As per the Indian culture, the North Star holds an immense importance, symbolizing constancy, stability, and spiritual enlightenment, or the guiding light for navigating their life path. The Native Americans also believe that North Star represents order, protection, and guidance. Susan's North Star for her life journey is a sense of altruism. So, Susan, we would like to hear about that from you, your North Star.
Thank you, Vasu. My desire to explore the world became a real passion with me and to help when I could. My parents were big social advocates and very much operated from the heart. They helped neighbors that were in trouble. My dad worked as a teacher, but he picked a school that had a lot of troubled kids in it. And I was always taught to think not about myself, but about others. And I grew up in a family of 6 kids where I learned about sharing. And as I grew up in high school, I wanted to do more service. I remember leading a poor people's campaign and collected cans of foods and went to the south side of Chicago.
Oh, okay.
And, I lived in a real sheltered kind of way also. I was raised Catholic, and it was a Polish European neighborhood. And I went to Catholic grade school, high school. And it wasn't until I went to college that the world opened up to me. I met people from other faiths, and I started getting more open-minded. And near my parents' neighborhood, an Indian community popped up. Chicago's very ethnic.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ethnic neighborhoods. And one day I got courage and walked through that Indian neighborhood. And oh my gosh, I was scared and shy and naive. And my eyes were seeing the turbans and the saris and smelling the spices out of the restaurants. And I walked away with a burning desire that I would like to know more about Indians. They seem so different than me, but are they? And when my parents met an Indian priest years later, I had been living in Hawaii and came and to visit them, and they introduced me. I said to him, I want to go to India someday. He goes, why? I said, because Mother Teresa and Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King, Mark Twain, and even the Beatles all went there. Each of them said that it had a profound effect on their life. And I just like to go there. He said, give me a while and I will set up families and have convents. Nuns live there, yes. And priests in the rectories, and they will meet you at the train station and they will show you the heart of India. I was scared. I went by myself with a backpack and traveled by train. I would get off the train, hold my name on a sign, and wait for someone to claim me. And it was such an amazing experience because I saw in depth the villages, the schools, the orphanages, even went to a leper colony in India through those nuns. What was very impactful was my train rides. Sometimes I'd be on the train for a day or two, and there I would meet people from all over India, all different religions. we would have such amazing, intimate conversations about anything. They were so kind to me. I would ask about arranged marriages, about their festivals, about their education and family values. I felt that was such a profound, life-changing experience. It inspired me to want to know more about the world. Mind you, I've always had a huge connection with India. I've been there 13 times now. The last time was in January. I absolutely believe it is on its way to becoming a fantastic superpower. Every time I came back, I saw more and more and was so impressed with the youth and entrepreneurs there, how they have such dreams and goals and the discipline and the hardworking students that it just was amazing. There's so much about the culture that's amazing to me. The complicated dancing, 6,000-year traditions, and America's only 250 years old. And at any rate, I decided to go to Thailand a couple of years later. A friend of mine was teaching. He said he was leaving his job. Why don't I come there and take his job? I did that again. Very traditional town where the kids bowed to me and always had to be lower than me when they bowed in respect. I kept asking, help me understand, are there any things I should know about teaching the children? And they told me a lot of cultural things like don't pat their heads. That's their spiritual center. And I also taught at a Buddhist university one night a week. And then I taught doctorate students. Again, I dived into that culture. I love seeing everyday life, tasting all the foods, and being a vegetarian. Sometimes it was tricky, but then I came back and still had more desire. In America, I lived in Hawaii and Arizona and a little town in Alaska. It's like, everybody kept asking me, what are you searching for? I said, I'm not searching. I'm just exploring. I feel like life is a big smorgasbord. And I started to feel like a bit of an ambassador from America. And we would connect heart to heart, one at a time. And I brought my magic with. I'm an amateur magician. And even if the language wasn't there, and in Thailand where I was at, the language was very poor, and I was the only foreign teacher there. And it was a challenging time, and I loved it, though. And after 8 months, I came back and took care of my mother, took care of my father and their transitions. And then I went to to China. Why did I pick China? Because there was so much negative news on the newspaper. I felt I need to go there myself and really see the voice and heart of the people. I signed up for only one semester at a university to teach English. I had a master's degree in counseling deaf people, but in order to do that teaching, I took a special class for 64 hours. And just looked on the internet and found that job. There I was again, facing my fears and out of my comfort zone, taking a risk. And I said, I'll stay for 4 months, one semester, and that's it. They said, okay. I ended up staying for 2 years and loved it. And on, I could tell you about different places. When I came back from India, I saw so much abject poverty. 30 years ago. Now it's really changed, and there still is poverty, no doubt. But anyways, let's see, forgot my train of thought. When I came back from India, I wanted to help. I knew I couldn't do everything, but I could do something. And I joined an organization called ASHA, and Hope for Education. We started doing fundraiser. I said, everyone needs to know how great India is. Let's have a program. Let's call it Glimpse of India. So it was me and 30 Indians, and one was married to a Caucasian woman. And we put it on at a college, and it was so well received. that I started going to different Rotary clubs and different other organizations. I had to keep telling everyone, letting them see India through my eyes. And, the list goes on and on. I just kept joining social service kind of NGO type organizations. I've done 35 years as a career working with abused kids, domestic violence, street gang kids, deaf people. It's, again, a smorgasbord. Help is what gives me meaning and purpose. I feel like Mother Teresa said, hands that serve are holier than lips that pray. And now one of the organizations I'm very active is called Caneo Compassion Coalition. Caneo is the name of the area that it's located in. But
Uganda, right? That's Uganda.
It's not only Uganda, it's locally when there were fire victims that didn't have insurance. It's globally. We've helped in Haiti rebuild houses after the earthquake. We've helped in Nepal at a school after the earthquake. Uganda, there's an orphanage in India we help support. Ukraine, we were giving money to help rebuild medical clinics that were bombed. And the list goes on and on.
Now, I have a question for you, Susan. India recognizes 22 languages and 720 dialects. Now, you have traveled so much in India, and I don't think you speak any of the languages that I know of. You may have picked up some words here and there, I'm sure.
Great.
How do you manage all this, going to these rural areas and helping them out with so many things? Can we safely say that the language of humanity is universal?
Oh, absolutely. I believe the eyes are the windows to the soul. I heard someone say that once. And a smile is a window to the heart. And actually, Rotary sent me to India for 2 months, Kerala and Tamil Nadu. And I went to 44 different schools, and I was helping teachers that worked with kids with disabilities. And then the Rotary would bring me to a lot of clubs to talk. And I came back to America with 16 different projects that they could fund. And then I spoke to about 40 clubs here. Rotary had me living with families. I lived with Sikh and Buddhist and Muslim and Christian and Hindu during that 2-month time. I would stay a week and then travel. And yeah, it was.
So you didn't worry about the language or nothing, huh? There?
No, because they would take me to the villages. I would do some magic and I would show them a map. I had this cloth map. I'd show them where I live. I would do some fun exercises, either somebody translated or, they didn't need language for it, like magic or I would sing to them. Even though I don't have a good voice.
And remember, you worked for a lot of the homeless shelters and impoverished communities, right, in Uganda. You know that we have Project Humanity, and it's really dear to us, our powerful group, especially for our powerful group. How would you utilize this platform to amplify your efforts as a social activist?
Social activism, to me, one component is to help. And the other component is to bridge people so that there's peace in the world. Everybody wants that. That's one thing I learned, that everyone wants a good family, a good job, good friends. And are you talking in regards to the people that we would invest in, the NGOs that we would?
Yeah, yes, we would do that, because that's what a nonprofit organization is about, right? We are trying to create entrepreneurs, obviously.
Yes.
And so when you've gone to these villages and all that, did you ever, even in India, for example, have you ever come across projects that you thought that these villagers could learn how to become an entrepreneur versus looking for money or begging or anything like that?
Oh, gosh, absolutely. I think every person has some skills inside them and some talents and some passions.
But why do we not apply them? Or maybe is it our direction that they wait for?
It's a little tricky in the villages. I think you just need to be with some of the community leaders that are in that village they have a very strong sense of community. A lot of them at night, they've got the fire going and they dance and tell stories about the day. There's a lot of positiveness in there. And I've been to the slums in Bombay, and Asha, we helped pay so that 3 days a week, we would pay the parents what the kids would make begging in the train station so that they could go to school. So we got a community center and took the van to get the kids there. We fundraised for that.
Yeah.
And I watched the kids learning, and some of them would get up and perform. They do a poem. They show us how great they were in math. It's just a matter of giving people a chance.
So basically, we would like you to use our platform for that purpose. Like we need to create entrepreneurs, and how can you do that, or how can we help the world around us? To become entrepreneurs versus looking for jobs. Maybe that's a problem we all have throughout the world. That there are no jobs, and people are looking for jobs and no jobs, and so it creates a lot of instability in their families. So that's our goal here at the Powerful Group, is to create entrepreneurs. I remember you and I, Susan, we were working with a group of people I think it was South Africa, and you may know the state actually. I don't remember what area of Africa that was. Maybe we kind of encouraged those students to make jewelry, and we created, I think, bracelets and stuff like that. And they were all excited. We videotaped that, remember, for our event?
Yes. In Uganda, there's a
good
example. And I only spent 3 weeks in Uganda, but we lived in a village during that 3 weeks. But we had, we had this group called Tapak. And what they do, the two founders, they go from village to village. And their gift is music.
Yes,
and
I remember that, yes.
They look at the kids in the village and talk to them. They target kids that are interested in either playing music, creating musical instruments, making handicrafts, things like that. And those kids who were street children, they have helped them in a shelter. They've got 26 kids there now. But they're giving them such a powerful skills. I think I've taught a lot of kids magic, and, it's whatever any of us have that we can share with others.
That will make them happy and change their lifestyle and all that, right?
It can change their life. A lot of these people, I know a good friend that they identified him in the village as extremely smart. And he was given a scholarship and then came to America and got a top job. I think India, Indian people have made America great. All that brain drain and
yeah, I know.
Oh my gosh, so many people in Silicon Valley were taken from we knew that get those toppers, offer them better salaries. But I think India is becoming much smarter. And I think that with the manpower, with the creativity that exists in the minds in Indian people, I think they just need that chance, that microloan, that way to, even we got women that were raising kids alone. We bought them hand-operated sewing machines, but they had to go through 6 weeks of financial classes. So they would learn how to start a business, and we asked them to pay us back later on. And that was a great thing to do. I think more and more could be done like that all over.
Susan, you are also on the board member of HARP Foundation. And that fascinated me a lot because I believe you're providing healing music for those facing like maybe terminal illnesses or special needs people, right? And so I would say that many stories are whispered through the syncopated rhythm of drums and music and all that, do you think that music is the best medium to change lives and to change the impact that something or some disaster may have had on their minds?
I do think music is very powerful. It's very universal, and I do believe it has the ability to heal. The drum is powerful because it connects with the heart.
Yeah.
The harp, it can't. The way they do it is they look at people's breath, breathing in and out, and they entrain their music with that. And oftentimes people even make their transition with the sounds of that harp music. It's very relaxing. You know yourself, if you listen to heavy duty metal or rap, how it can make you nervous, where the other kind. And again, I think that dancing and singing and liking music in the villages is another powerful. I mean, there's just so many ways. Or some like to work with their hands. Or, now they're all getting those little computers all over the country because it's cheap now.
I thought music was also a great medium, to collaborate cultures as well.
Oh, absolutely.
It always attracts our attention when you look at, I like this Japanese music or the Chinese music or the Indian music, right? So the music always draws my attention, at least,
We had a fundraiser between
yeah, exactly.
Uganda kids and Indian kids where they learned each other's songs. It was really nice.
Susan, you were also a member of the American Association of University for Women, gender equality, and for women and girls. Right? That's what you guys did, right? Through research and education and advocacy, I believe, right?
Advocacy.
My question is, you have basically gone to so many countries and you've seen the women, different women in different countries, right? How would you fight for the same gender battle in a country like India or maybe Japan or China or any of those countries versus USA? Would that fight be the same for the gender there?
I'm always very sensitive about culture. I don't want to come in as an aggressive Westerner that's
no, I understand. Yeah,
disrupting. But especially, when I taught in China, I tried to share with them values. I did a series of videos on American culture and picked weddings and birthdays.
Yeah.
And told them a lot about my life and how I valued helping. And I think a lot of my students wrote, "Thank you so much. You've been a good role model for me to have something different than my own mother, where I admire that you traveled by yourself, that you came here, that you don't feel like you have to stay on one career path that maybe people are telling you to do." So I think that's the way to do it. But education to combat ignorance is essential. I know in some countries, women don't even know how they get pregnant. And women like in Afghanistan that aren't able to go to school now, they had a taste of that freedom and now it's going backwards. But, once you've been to the mountaintop, you never forget it. And you find ways to try and get books and still educate, however way you can.
Yeah, I mean, see, I always respect all the religions, all the religions, cultures and all that. I always respect that. There's always something we learn from other cultures and the religions. I don't think there's any religion that teaches you something wrong or right, So I think it is definitely easy to kind of bring cultures together whether it is through music or whether it is through educating each other on different levels. And I think somebody has to make that effort, and maybe that's the goal that we are going after, is bringing the whole world together, because we are all really one earth, one family, and one mission that we have for the future as well.
That's right.
And so why can't we all be happy?
Good question. We all belong to each other. What effect? Yeah, in one country, look at COVID. It really spread all over the world. And now with the internet, we're able to, go across the cultures. These concerts that happen in England where it's a global, jazz festival, people flock. They want that feeling of belonging. They want to know that we're connected to our brothers and sisters all over, regardless of color and race and all that. So our work has to be done, and we can't do it all, but doggone it, we can do something. We can help these entrepreneurs that are dreamers, and if we give them money, say maybe X amount of that money should take on someone from a village that you meet that is, shows promise. In China, when people come into college, they assess them. Are you good in gymnastics? Are you good in math?
That's
And
awesome.
they try to support that way. They do that in France too, through vocational tests, and they guide them that way.
Something to learn from, so that's exactly what I'm saying, that when we collaborate on different levels,
Yes,
technically learn from each other.
absolutely. Oh, India has so much to teach, somewhere like America, and vice versa. I remember on the train once, one woman said, "Oh, you're from America." She asked me where I was from. I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Well, we pray for you every day." I said, "What? In America, people pray for people in China that are poor, or India because they're starving." I said, "Why do you pray for us?" And she said, "Well, we know that our happiness here belongs to our relationship with each other and our relationship with our God. And we feel that Americans are emotionally and spiritually starving because so many feel like their happiness lies in materialism."
Yeah.
And that took me aback. And I've said that at every talk I've given, and a lot of people go, "Yeah, that's right." And look what India's brought over: yoga and the first surgery happened there, the first university. There's so much India has to be proud of, and to feel that self-esteem and go forward hand in hand.
So what would you add, Susan, to your experience, regarding your experience and all of it, India, and your expertise dealing with so many kinds of people? What would be a fair picture about India, and how would everyone benefit from its association?
Well, I think everybody needs to try and get on board because, ready or not, India is moving forward. And I think that, the things that Modi lately has been doing, to going to every state, looking at the sanitation, putting toilets everywhere, putting new roads in. I think people get excited about that. They see changes. And I think that we need to put more India needs to keep putting more new monies into education for all, and not just those people that can afford private schools, boarding schools.
Yeah, I don't think we have so much of private schools in India. I mean, there are, but the focus is really education, and I think it's like a status thing in India. I guess it's a blessing for us that we believe in that. Um,
But I would connect with organizations that go village from village and do teach skills, and it's about networking with. I know a man who's been visiting, he's probably gone to 200 different villages, and he does value training. Another one does coping skills. Another one is trying to assess the needs of the village. Those are the movers and shakers to affiliate with.
yeah.
Kind of like a United Nations of India for leaders that do care about the people that need to come up out of poverty. And the wealthier need to be educated. When I was in Hyderabad, Cyberbad, it's getting so modern. I noticed that some of the people were going to these farmers that they make their wages daily by selling the bananas, and they were haggling over the price. And I thought, my gosh, you're making so much salary, and you're going to be happy because you were able to get them for only 10 rupees instead of 30 that he wanted. Don't you know this puts food on the table? So that kind of consciousness also has to come about.
Okay.
But I think any young people or any entrepreneurs that have great ideas, we got to stand behind them and bring their voice to the world however possible, because it's easy for, again, America to see someone really good and educated and say, "Come on over and do it here first."
So basically, that's the goal of a platform that we have created. And we want people to take as much advantage of that as possible. And it's a platform. Like I said, this event that we're doing, we're saying event, it's really not an event in November. It's a platform that
Yes.
everyone can take advantage of that, So all these entrepreneurs will be funded, and we have kind of coming up with school that the world could take advantage of that school as well. Get all the training in the world. And I think that the outlook in life, whether it's India or America, it doesn't matter which country, that we were not so much focused on entrepreneurship. We were more focused on education and getting a good job and, those kind of things. And so our trend needs to be changed from just getting the education and looking for jobs versus becoming an entrepreneur, trying to see how you can build your own business and
Yes.
more creative in that manner.
Yes.
So that's what our trend is, and that's what Powerful Group is all about. And we are investors that will invest these entrepreneurial projects. So I think all I can say is we want the world to take advantage of this, and we are here to help you.
And one more thing, one of my friends in a school, a poor school, he trained the kids because this was his skill to be a DJ and to not so much with music, to be an interviewer of people. And what he did to these fifth and sixth standard grades, he had the kids learn communication skills. How do you interview someone? How do you not interrupt? How do you get them to tell what's important in their life and what message they want to convey? And my friend went out to the community. He found a policeman to be interviewed by the kids, a businessman, someone interested in outer space. But these are good role models to plant seeds in those kids after interviewing, and at the same time getting those communication skills and to learn respect for to another person. There's a lot of subtle skills you could teach.
Susan, it was really a pleasure to have you here with us. And to our audience, if anybody would like to connect with Susan and to see what all she does and how wonderful she is, please go on our website, powerfulgroup.com/connect, and you can connect with Susan Seeds. And thank you, Susan, for your time here today, and appreciate everything you had to say about India as well as the world.
Love India.